Hey everybody, welcome to Two Comic Book Dudes. I'm Aaron, editor-in-chief of Comic Booked,
Hey everybody, Justin, managing editor over at Comic Book.
and tonight we've got a very special Kickstarter spotlight for Robots versus Princesses. Kind of a weird mashup, but it really looks like it's going to work. And joining us is Todd Matthy. Todd?
Hello. How's
So thanks a
everybody?
lot. Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule and taking some time to talk about this Kickstarter. You guys just kicked it off in the last week?
Yeah, last week,
Okay.
about 10 days ago.
Okay. And it seems like it's got quite a few people backing it so far. It's not it was looked like about a quarter funded, I think.
Yeah, a little less than that.
Okay.
I,
So we
I think we need to get the word out.
Okay, and that's what we're doing here. So, yeah, well, we'll go ahead and, I mean, Robots versus Princesses seems kind of self-explanatory, but why don't you go ahead and tell us about the premise? Tell us a little bit about the plans for the series. I know the initial Kickstarter talks about 4 issues, as well as a collected kind of a trade. Uh,
hmm well, basically what our plan is, we want to do our first storyline is 4 issues. It's basically going to be how what happens is in the beginning of this storyline, Princess Zara, she's the youngest princess of the Five Kingdoms. And in the Five Kingdoms, every 5 years, a different king and queen take over from each of the five lands. So she goes to this school where she's taught by the queen, how to be a good queen. And their big final exam is the like a like a Disney like creature where you sing and the creatures do and like animals do things.
okay.
And Zara being the youngest wants to upstage all of them, especially Penelope, who's the big, she's the daughter of the queen and the perfect princess, as they say. So in the meantime, over in this area called Chromia, which is where the robots live, there is a robot named Wheeler who is kind of the whipping boy to the Decimator warlord Tyrannus, and he just gets sick of it and decides he's going to leave. So he defects. He goes to in what's known as the Beyond for the robots, the Forbidden Woods for the princesses. And meanwhile, that night, Zara sneaks out to try to find a dragon. She sings, hoping to find a dragon. Wheeler hears her singing. It activates something in him that causes him to transform, or so he thinks. And boom, right. They they agree to help each other, and Tyrannus doesn't like defectors, so
Hmm.
boom, we're off to the races.
Wow. Well, that's pretty cool. It's
Yeah.
definitely a unique idea. That's, Justin and I were talking about it when we first found out about it. It's definitely something different. We've seen robots versus zombies. We've sort of, seen humans versus zombies. We've seen giant, monsters versus giant robots, but we've never really seen this kind of a conflict. And it sounds like a really cool premise.
hmm And looks
Yeah,
great.
it was a lot of fun, to come up with. If you want to know the actual origin of it, it came to me actually when I was a substitute teacher at the time at Columbus Elementary School in New Rochelle, New York, and just giving a shout out. um, and I had a reputation there as the teacher that told good stories. And I would use, and the kids liked it. And I realized though that I had written some short stories and done some and self-published like a couple of comics, but they really weren't anything I could give the kids. And I wanted to make something that I could give, my students that, they could read and be like, my teacher did this, and, just, something like that, something that, would encourage them also to read. But I didn't really have an idea. And finally, I was just in a first grade classroom helping out, and one of the things, and what the teacher had was, she had these coloring pages for the boys' robots, the girls' princesses. Then it hit me. And I knew that I had something when I started thinking about, okay, how are these, what are they fighting about? How are these two kingdoms kept separate and they have not known each other for all these years? Who are the princesses? Who are the robots? Um, and just those wheels started greasing, and I went home and just started jotting down an outline and jotting down the characters and who they were. And next thing I knew, I was writing princess songs, and I had a script, you know.
Cool.
Yes, there will be princess songs in there.
Well, of course. I mean, what's a princess story without songs, right?
Was that
those
the
are
point
hard
of
to
no
write.
return? Sorry.
What?
I was saying, once you started making princess songs, was that the point of no return? Like, you were fully committed at that point? You're like, can't go back. Making songs.
Yeah, that's when I knew that was it.
It's funny. So you want to talk about the rewards? You know, the one thing, whenever I look at a Kickstarter, of course, I always look at the project itself and you know, is it cool? Is it not cool? Is it something I'd want to read? But then the rewards always kind of make me decide whether I'm going to back it or not. So you want to talk about what folks could get for backing at different levels?
Well, what you're going to get is, obviously, we're going to give you, we have, you know, if you donate anything from like $1 to $5, you'll get your name put and printed in like a back part of the book. $5 is a digital copy of issue number 1. For $10, we'll do a digital and physical combo. From there, then we go up to like our $25 one, which is all 4 issues digital, and then we, as it progresses, we get to you'll get to combos. As you go higher, we got some really cool variant covers from Rod Espinoza, who does The Courageous Princess at Dark Horse. We've got Andrea Tame, who is a really beautiful artist. I mean, the stuff she comes up with, I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, like, her cover. I met her at New York Comic Con. She has some good prints. She kind of looks like Elsa, but she, I
Cool.
mean, yeah, she is great. And yeah, and I believe we have. Let me check my book.
Just saying, Rod Espinoza. I know there's been some older series that I got from him that I just love his art with the way he draws. I mean, just everything about it is cool. So I may have to go and adjust, because I backed it earlier today. I may have to go and adjust it so I can get one of those variant covers, because I love his artwork.
Yeah, he turned in something. He turned in something really nice. I love how it just kind of comes. This cover just comes at you, like it's bursting out of the off the page, and you know, Zara riding Wheeler. Hang on.
I'm sorry, I could have been a little more prepared and had that pulled up already, but
Yeah, Rod, and oh yeah, how could I forget Sean Von Gorman? You can edit that part out, right?
yeah.
Yeah, Sean
No.
Von Gorman.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, we record
Sean,
a solid, so it's fine.
okay. My apologies, Sean. Okay. Sean Von Gorman, who does. Gonna be mad at me. He does. I know him from the Pronto Comics group, and he does. He did Tag Riot for Black Mask.
Oh yeah.
He also did Secret Adventures of Houdini. Yeah. He also is an escape artist. And he. So he did the third variant cover, and our 4th one's going to be a surprise. But
Cool.
There will be a 4th.
Awesome.
So.
I know a lot of people always look for that when they're looking at a project to back. So that's cool to know that there's some neat variant covers, and I noticed there's a whole bunch of different things that people can look at. We'll put the link to the project in the description for this video. It'll also be in the article that this video will set in. So and then if you go to our page to comicbook.com, you'll see an ad there as well. You can click on that'll take you right to Robots versus Princesses. So lots of ways to get there and back this great project.
Yeah, and one of the big rewards is you'll be featured either in the book, you'll be featured in the book, and you'll be featured in the book with a line of dialogue if you pledge a certain level. And also Nick has agreed to do some princess portraits, robot portraits of you if you back a certain level. Limited number though. But if you see Nick's artwork on this book, you know he's going to do it nice. Very
cool.
Awesome.
All right. Great. So what's the future of Robots versus Princesses? If this Kickstarter is successful, what do you see down the road?
I've already actually got ideas for further stories. What I'm hoping to do with this is kind of, like what J.K. Rowling did with Harry. Each issue will be the next stage, kind of the princesses growing up. I already have solid ideas for a second storyline, which might include robot. Minor spoilers.
Interesting.
And we'd see what happens. There. The next one they're going to go on. You'll see what it is, but I've thought of things like, well, what's going to happen if, like when Penelope meets her betrothed and doesn't want to marry him, and she decides to ditch him at the altar and go somewhere with Gunner, who's the big cowboy robot who carries a huge gun, and he's very trigger happy. I always thought that would be a fun combination.
That's cool.
I'd want to explore what happens about maybe some robots that just kept going into Harmonia and maybe they became sea monsters or things like that. I'd also want to do something with people who went into Chromia. But the big thing that happened as I was writing it was that Tyrannus the villain kind of evolved. And he's not a guy. He's not out there. He's not like kill all the humans. There's a reason he does what he does, and there's a reason why he doesn't like humans in the book. Basically, I don't know if would you consider this a spoiler, or should I just say it?
Yeah, let's keep it. Let's keep that. Because that would be a spoiler, I think, if you told that. That's it seems like it's something kind of integral to the plot. I mean, it's up to you. Okay. Yeah, let's not talk about that then.
Yeah.
You gotta get it to find out.
Yeah, you gotta get it to find out, and yeah, he's more complex, or at least in this story, he's more complex than he seems. We'd also explore the other kingdoms, And basically, I want to kind of make the focus on, the stories on each princess in a way. On a robot and princess combination, because I kind of view them as kind of like buddy movies.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, and that's good. I think that keeps you from focusing too much on the fact that, it's robots versus princesses and more on the people in the story, and that allows you to develop more stories around it. So that's really great. Cool. Okay. Well, and so anything else you want to tell us about this project before we talk about a little bit more, maybe of your background and.
That's all I can tell without giving things away. Oh yeah, Brian Smith, who wrote Voltron Force and Stuff of Legend. He's agreed to critique your script if you pledge a level. So
very cool.
But there's only one. He's only doing one session, so get on it.
Wow, that's cool. All right. Well, so let's talk about your background. So, Justin, do you want to ask our big question and
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Like, I mean, you'd mentioned this, or we kind of went over it before, but what was, I guess, if you want to talk a little bit about your background in comics, what you like, and things like that, but was there a certain book that made you go, wait a minute, maybe I could make a comic, maybe I could do this, you know?
Thinking.
It's a tough one.
I'm gonna pull. Yeah, I mean, basically, my history with comics was that I first got really. I mean, I had gotten a couple of them when my parents would pick me up like a Superman or like a GI Joe from back in the day. I liked the Transformers comics, like when I was in kindergarten. But I really didn't start getting into collecting until I started doing the Marvel cards. And from there, this was around the time when the death of Superman hit and the X-Men cartoon debuted. So I started collecting with Death of Superman, and then I started reading, the X-Men comics because I liked the cards and I loved the show.
Yep.
And I loved the drama of the show, and then I started reading the comics, and I saw that there was like the drama in there. And then me and my friends started drawing our own comics, and I just kept doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it instead of my homework. And I'm like, you know what? I think this is what I want to do.
Cool.
I'm not that great an artist, so I went on with writing. But then I read comics that have really influenced me are a big one is Larry Hama's G.I. Joe from Marvel. I like how he took something that should have just been an ad and really put depth to the characters and made kind of like a Charles Dickens like connections with Snake Eye. Everything revolves around Snake Eyes in that series.
Yeah.
He doesn't even talk. And the big thing, also is that, when you look at fantasy, there was always, something like in Lord of the Rings, there was the Great War of the Ring, which was where Sauron was defeated. That was a big deal, and people are still recovering from it. Game of Thrones, Robert's Rebellion. For the characters in G.I. Joe, it was Vietnam. So it kind of it tied into like American history, and that really struck me. Then, of course, I've read Dark Phoenix, and then I discovered Watchmen and Preacher. And they made me realize, whoa, comics are more than just a superhero fare. They could actually, there was stuff in Preacher that you weren't seeing in movies, that you weren't seeing on TV. You still may not see on TV.
True.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. That I realized, you can do a lot of things in comics that you can't do anywhere else. And that made me want to do it even more. I actually then interned at Marvel in 2002 when I was a senior in high school. And I interned with the Ultimate line. And from there, it was just like everything's been about creating comics for me.
Cool.
Nice.
So you're a big Preacher fan. What do you think about the TV show coming up?
I'm reserving judgment till I see it. I mean, that's all I really can do. I mean, yeah. It looks good. I'm hearing great things about it. I'm wondering what the changes will be, obviously, because there's some stuff that in there you can't do on TV.
Right.
I'm hoping they keep. I hope Grandma comes in. I love that storyline.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting concept to translate. I don't know. I mean, they've done a good job with Walking Dead, translating from the comic to the screen. Some of the other shows like Into the Badlands was just an awesome series. I don't know. I mean, Preacher seems like something they can pull from the page to the screen with minor changes and toning some stuff down. But it's kind of like with Walking Dead, bringing Negan into it. Negan has such a foul mouth, and he can't have that on TV. So, is he going to translate well? It'll be interesting. I'm definitely excited to see it, but yeah, like you said, I'm kind of reserved but excited at the same time.
I made a mistake with Star Wars Episode 1 about getting too excited about something. So from there, it's kind of like, all right, let's keep this in check here. You still haven't seen it yet before you declare this to be the greatest thing ever.
Right, right. But the thing with Star Wars Episode 1 was the fact that it had been so many years, and we had another Star Wars movie. I'll admit I went and saw it 8 or 9 times in the theater because I grew up with it, and it was like, now there's another movie, and I can take my kids, and it's awesome. Despite Jar Jar Binks,
Yeah, I actually think Episode 2 was worse because at least that one had Qui-Gon Jinn and Darth Maul.
Right.
I mean, you look at the dialogue in Episode 2, and you're like, ugh, sorry for Natalie Portman and Hayden Christensen.
Right.
Read that.
Yeah.
Ugh.
That's true. All right, so Robots versus Princesses, we definitely want this to happen. So for all of our viewers out there, go check them out. Like I said, the link will be in the description here. You can also see more information in our article, and there'll be a link there. You can just click and jump right over. Or on our page, there's an ad that says Robots versus Princesses. It's pretty obvious. Just click on that, take you right to the Kickstarter. Click the button that says support this. I think it says support this.
Back this project.
Back this project. Click that and pay a bunch of money. So there's a lot of good things. So yeah, it looks great. I'm excited. I definitely want this to happen. So yeah, but what we'll do is probably Todd will touch base with you maybe after the project's funded, because we know it's going to happen. And once the book comes out, then we can do kind of a review show.
Okay. Yeah, sure. That sounds great.
All right. Awesome. Well, Todd, thank you for taking time to talk with us and to promote your project. And we look forward to talking to you again.
All right. Excellent. Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And thanks everybody out there for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and tell your friends about this great Kickstarter.
Bye now.